Islamic myths, debunked quick facts and references. All right, everyone, strap in. We're about to tackle some seriously widespread myths about Islam. We're talking misconceptions so big they make the flat earth theory look like a minor rounding error. So if you're ready to dive into the Quran, the Hadith, and maybe even challenge some preconceived notions, then let's get this show on the road.
Let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say, the woman in the hijab. The idea that Islam inherently oppresses women is a narrative that's been tragically twisted. First off, hijab itself is about modesty and respect, not oppression. It's a woman's choice, not a man's command. Don't believe me? Check out Surah Al-Nur, verse 31. And let's not forget that Islam gave women inheritance rights, property rights, and the right to divorce back when those concepts were unheard of in other parts of the world. The problem isn't Islam. It's cultural practices masquerading as religious doctrine. Don't confuse the two.
Next up, the common misconception that Muslims worship a different God than Jews and Christians. Listen closely, folks. Muslims worship the same God as Jews and Christians, the one and only God, the creator of the universe. We call him Allah, which is simply the Arabic word for God. It's not a different deity, just a different name in a different language. It's the same God that revealed the Torah to Moses, the Psalms to David, and the Gospel to Jesus, peace be upon them all. These prophets are highly respected in Islam. The Quran even acknowledges these prophets and their scriptures as divinely revealed. It emphasizes the continuity of the divine message. So, if we believe in the same God and respect the same prophets, where's the confusion? It's often a matter of misunderstanding and lack of knowledge. It all boils down to understanding that Islam sees itself as a continuation and completion of the same divine message revealed to humanity throughout history. This message has been consistent, aiming to guide humanity towards righteousness and understanding.
Chapter 3. Violence and Islam, a complicated relationship status. Now, let's talk about the V word, violence. Yes, there are verses in the Quran that mention fighting, but to understand them, you need context. These verses are often cited without considering the circumstances under which they were revealed. These verses were revealed in a specific historical context during a time of war and persecution. The early Muslim community faced severe oppression and existential threats. They provided guidelines for self-defense and the protection of the innocent. The emphasis was on defending oneself and one's community from aggression, not on initiating violence. To claim that these verses promote indiscriminate violence is like saying the Second Amendment advocates for school shootings. It's a gross misinterpretation. Just as the Second Amendment is about the right to bear arms for self-defense, the Quranic verses are about the right to defend against oppression. The Quran clearly states that killing an innocent person is like killing all of humanity, while saving a single life is like saving all of humanity. Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 32. This verse underscores the sanctity of human life and the importance of compassion. Islam promotes peace, justice, and compassion, and any act of violence committed in its name is a betrayal of its true teachings. The core message of Islam is one of mercy and kindness, and this is reflected in the daily lives of millions of Muslims around the world.
Chapter 4. Hold up, not all Muslims are Arabs. Time for a geography lesson, everyone. Just because Islam originated in the Arabian Peninsula doesn't mean all Muslims are Arabs. In fact, the largest Muslim population in the world is in Indonesia, a country thousands of miles away from the Middle East. From Senegal to Singapore, Muslims come from diverse ethnicities, cultures, and backgrounds. We've got black Muslims, brown Muslims, white Muslims, you name it. Reducing Islam to an Arab-only club is like saying all Christians are Italians. It's just plain wrong. Islam is a global religion, and its diversity is one of its greatest strengths.
Chapter 5. Jihad. It's not just about fighting. And finally, let's talk about jihad, a word that's been hijacked and distorted beyond recognition. In today's media landscape, it's often portrayed solely as a call to violence, overshadowing its true essence. Yes, jihad can refer to armed struggle in self-defense, but that's just one interpretation. Historically, it has been about protecting one's community and standing up against oppression. The greater jihad, the one emphasized in Islamic teachings, is the internal struggle against one's own ego, desires, and negative tendencies. It's a personal journey of self-improvement and spiritual growth. It's about striving to be a better person, to live a life of purpose and meaning, and to contribute positively to society. This form of jihad encourages acts of kindness, charity, and community service. So, the next time you hear someone equate jihad with terrorism, remember that they're only telling you a fraction of the story, a fraction carefully curated to fit a specific narrative. Understanding the full context is crucial for fostering empathy and breaking down stereotypes.
Look, I get it. There's a lot of misinformation out there about Islam. It's easy to fall into the trap of stereotypes and generalizations, especially when they're constantly being reinforced by the media, politicians, and even your crazy uncle at Thanksgiving dinner. But here's the thing, Islam, like any religion, is complex. It's got its beauty, its challenges, and its nuances. So the next time you come across a claim about Islam that seems too simplistic, too black and white, remember to dig a little deeper. Read the Quran, engage with Muslims, and challenge your own biases. You might be surprised by what you discover.